Hey guys, welcome to the Toy Box. We had pretty massive reveals yesterday, I would say, even though it was only two figures. It's huge. We got a Primarch from the Dark Angels, we got Lionel Jonson, and we also got Azrael. I would normally jump right into talking about these figures, but I've actually decided instead of putting me complaining at the back half of this video, I'm going to put it at the front. And the reason why is typically most people are only watching like the first 3 minutes. So I don't know why, but it is what it is. I wanted to put this at the first half, hoping that I catch viewers' attention on this. So GW on the Warhammer community website announced these, yesterday around 4 a.m. So you can right now go up. I've got the picture here at warhammercommunity.com. Yes, I'm an iPhone user. Sorry for you iPhone haters out there. But I screen grabbed this and left the website on the top just so anyone couldn't be like, oh, this is all photoshopped. It's not. The one thing I will say, and I appreciate this because when GW announced Gilliman, they did not mention Joy Toy's website. There's now a link to Joy Toy's official website, and as most of you know, some of you may not, there are a couple Joy Toy websites that are not actually Joy Toy. That link on the warhammercommunity.com site is the legit store, which is great. My complaint is they also, again, referenced Merchoid. Merchoid is a bag of shit. Do not go there. I'm sorry if Merchoid employees are listening. You guys got to walk these prices back, man. I don't know what's going on. If you go back on the Gilliman video that I did, I had thought maybe, just maybe, that GW was posting Merchoid as a shopping link because I thought maybe they were going to pull this angle where, hey, they're selling them pretty high. These are the current prices. And then GW does their own pre-order for Gilliman at a lower price to make you think, oh, GW's cutting us a break. That clearly is not the case. I also went on to Merchoid for some of you guys who don't feel like going to the website and just, screen grabbed a couple of these figures. And it is insane. Like, they've got Raven Guard figures for $68.99. I mean, that's a $32 figure on a good day. Like, the 4-pack of Infiltrators. Now, granted, that was the first release from Joy Toy, almost 2 years ago at this point. But $188, I mean, you can get this thing for $80 if you actually shop around. Let's go to this picture where I snagged some of their orcs. Their orcs, $104.99 for a knob. I mean, that's a $55 figure. These other orcs, $92, $98, $97. Like, if you shop around, and yes, there's Cool Toys Club, there's LT Cave, but if you really shop around, you can find some of these for like $40 a piece. Another screen grab that I took, got, the Black Templar High Marshal Hellbrick, $112. Emperor's Champion, $80. I mean, what the fuck? Grey Knight's Grandmaster Valdus, $114. The fucking Blood Angels Terminators, $92.99. Listen, I don't like shitting on businesses, but I do like shitting on businesses that take advantage of the customer base, especially when we're all bros here, dude. I want to try and watch out for you guys. Don't get trapped in and thinking that this is the only place that you can buy these from, and don't ever pay double a standard MSRP. And even I say standard lightly because there's still plenty of places that you can find well below. AliExpress, Aliana has a badass store, and I'll just say this: Cool Toys Club, Locker Toys, Show Z, those are all fantastic places to buy. There's tons of discount codes out there to save you even more money. So don't fall into this trap. I'm going to continue to push Merchoid as being dog shit because of this, because it's taken advantage of us. We already spend enough money on this stuff. They got us hooked. We like what they're giving us. But prices like this, it's unacceptable. Anytime I see it personally, I'm going to call that shit out immediately. Hopefully the community does the same thing, because that's, at the end of the day, it's price gouging, and I'm not going to stand for people getting taken advantage of, especially for potentially new customer base. Like GW, you're going to push people into the direction where they see these prices and say, no, I'm going to stick to the miniatures. Screw this shit. It's not cool. But rant over, sorry. Hopefully, some of you guys listening right now are like, hell yeah, man, you saved me some money. Well, that's what I wanted to do. Rant over. Let's get into it. We got two big figures to look at. First one, and to me the only one in this wave that matters, the Primarch for the Dark Angels, Lionel Jonson. So pretty cool reveal image here. As you can see, he does come with his two little minions, but we'll get into that. There's a lot going on. Alright, so here's a front angle detail display shot where we see Lionel Jonson standing there holding that sword like a total badass. He's got his two little minions there. I guess a little banner holder. I'm not really sure what that is. And he's got a sheath being held by the other minion. That's really cool. It's going to really create a great story on your shelf. And, you know, it's extra little figures. It's awesome. Here's a front and back detail display shot where you can see his cape and his backpack and that sweet-ass helmet with them giant wings. There's almost too much going on with this figure. And I will go ahead and say this. I did not look at all these pictures as closely as possible because I like to look at these as I make this video. It gives it a more natural feel. You know, I'm getting surprised and excited while you guys are getting surprised and excited. So we kind of get to share that experience together. So here is the first full upfront image of Mr. Lionel Jonson. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. The belt tied around his waist. He's got the gun on his waist. Flowing capes and tabards and giant ass lion on his shoulder. I mean, what can you hate here? There's nothing to hate. Now, there are some nitpicks, and really those nitpicks are only going to go out to those who really like to push the boundaries of articulation and posability on their figures. Obviously, that rubber that's supposed to be cloth that's draped around his waist, that is going to hinder articulation, but not too much, truthfully. It is a pliable material. I say this in every video, so you can kind of move it out of your way. You're not going to be able to do splits with Mr. Lionel Jonson, but what the hell are you doing splits for, man? He's got a sword. He doesn't need to do splits. We don't need karate here. I will say this, though. The purity seals, obviously, and this goes for every figure, watch out for those. You don't want to break those off. The crowns on his backpack may come bent. Now, that was an issue with Gilliman. Let me go to this next image of his back. So you can see those crowns here on the top of his backpack. With Gilliman, some of those were coming bent in the package. And I know if maybe it's your first purchase and you get a figure and there's bent and warped parts, you're like, dude, this is it. I had a gut feeling. I'm not buying these. You're fine. All you need to do is heat that up, pop it in the freezer, let that plastic harden back up, and the warp is gone. It's over. You don't have to worry about it again. Now, should you have to perform surgery on action figures in 2023? No, but shit happens. You know, nothing comes out perfect, and I get it, and I'm not brown-nosing here. There are times where things do come broken. It happens. It's not often, but I'm just saying it happens at least once for every release. It's just, you're going to have defects. It's just, and it's not just in the toy community. It's everywhere, but it's going to happen, but there are ways to fix it. Heating it up, bending it back into position, freezing it, and you're good to go. Problem solved. But back to the figure. More than likely, that backpack will come off. You'll be able to pull his giant cape off. I don't know why you'd want to. It looks amazing, but it is an option. You know, it pushes the posability options and the boundaries beyond what you can even see here. So there are parts that you can remove. Let's go ahead and look at. So here's a cool action pose. He's got that shield out in front of him, that giant sword out to his side, and you can see that pistol. There was a big conversation in the Discord yesterday if that pistol is going to be removable or not. My opinion, by looking at this, even right now, but I studied the image yesterday with a few people. It is a pistol that had the holster completely sculpted around it. So my opinion is that pistol is definitely coming out of the holster. However, the problem with that is there's no trigger hand. Maybe someone in production and preparations forgot to put the hand in the studio photos, hopefully, or they didn't include a hand and maybe the original intention wasn't for that pistol to come out. We could be wrong. It might be fixed in there. It could be glued in there. I think it comes out. But There's no pistol grip hand. So your best option, let's just say the pistol comes out, right? Your best option is going to be taking one of these open palm hands, like the one that's holding the sword, getting an X-Acto knife and cutting in between the middle finger and the trigger finger, and bringing that finger out and almost mushing it into a trigger stance. Maybe taping it together to where it holds that position and freezing that hand. That way it does, and I say freezing, you physically put it in a freezer. And let that plastic harden back into that shape, and bam, you got a trigger finger hand. Now, granted, if you're going to ever resell the figure, it's not meant anymore, right? But you can't have a pistol without a hand that properly holds and uses the pistol. But yeah, so head sculpt looks fantastic. There's tons of heads in this thing, by the way. We're getting a total of 4. 4 heads in total. Let's actually go ahead and look. So here's the first head that we got here. I do not remember the actor's name. I could stop this video and look, but I'm not going to do that. It looks like the dude from Game of Thrones, or the way I know him as being the villain from The Last Action Hero. Face sculpt looks good. A lot of people complain that the eyebrows are missing. I'm going to assume they'll go back and touch that up. I like him without the eyebrows. It kind of intensifies him a little bit more. So that's head sculpt 1. Here's head sculpt 2 with those giant feathers up above his head. This thing is menacing as shit. I love the way that mask looks. That big old skull crown on his forehead. This thing is awesome. Our third sculpt reverts back to him not having a mask, but he has a hood. Why he has a hood, who he's hiding his appearance from, why are you hiding your identity when you're an 8-foot tall behemoth? Who knows? But it makes him feel comfortable. So we're going to let him roll with it. Third head sculpt. So our fourth head sculpt is that mask that we saw earlier and the hood we saw earlier. I just want to know where the hell the feathers went. I don't know if those in the story, in the world, that they just fold back and they're behind him. Who knows? But you give me a mask with a hood over it, immediate purchase. This thing is freaking awesome. So here's an action shot. We see him hunched over with that sword out, ready to do battle with that shield behind him. He's got his 2 little minions, which of course have no articulation whatsoever. These are as statuesque as a figure can get. Think of McFarlane's 90 toy line. There's zero articulation here. They're just holding his shit for him. They're his little minions. And here is the loadout. So this is everything we're going to get. Funny enough, we're getting stands for the figures that don't move at all, that should have no issue standing on their own, but I'm not going to complain. He threw some stands in there. If those figures do stand well on their own, now I've got 2 additional stands for some other figures, which is great. That's a bonus. But we've got shield. We've got 6 pairs of hands. Let's break those down. We've got 2 hands that are open, right? Open gesture hands, maybe a stop, don't move, or a look at this. He's got 2 fist hands for fist fighting and 2 open hands. One obviously to hold the shield and the other one to hold his sword. 4 heads. This dude is loaded out. As far as pricing, we do know for a fact that it's going to be more than Gilliman, and the main reason is he's got more stuff with him. What that price is going to be, from what I've read, is going to be in between $145 and $160 to $165, somewhere in that area. I will also say this, and I said it during the Gilliman video. I said don't sit on the sidelines. As soon as this is announced, pre-order. It's going to sell out. I'm actually going to change my opinion on that solely based on Gilliman, who's been up for pre-order since, May? And he just physically released in August. And he's still pretty much readily available. There might be a site here and there where he's sold out, but you've got time. Don't stress. 100, and let's just go back to the price and say it is 140 to 165. That is a lot of money to shell out all at once. Most companies do expect payment up front. There's no like pre-order with a deposit or pre-order and pay later unless you buy it like Big Bad or something, or Entertainment Earth. So it is a big ask up front. So don't feel pressured. I think that pressure is gone. I think Joy Toy is starting to increase their production numbers. So the fear of, is it going to sell out before I have enough money, that's kind of been pushed to the side, which is a good relief, because we're getting bombarded with release after release, and we're like today, we've got figures. We got 2 new figures right now. Toy Fair is happening this weekend. Wonderfest is happening this weekend. Joy Toy is attending both. So, and I have heard that they might have some reveals. And if they don't, there's for sure more reveals next Thursday. So it's almost, we're back into that groove where it's every week there's something new. So don't feel like you have to rush and buy this. You're going to have time. So that is Lionel Jonson. Super badass figure, super imposing. Let's get on to the second reveal, who is the Supreme Grand Master Azrael. And I'm saying Azrael, not Azriel, because the A comes before the E. If I'm wrong, roast me. I'm calling him Azrael. That's how I read it. And he also comes with a minion holding his sword, which is sweet. He does have another function, and I did not grab a picture of that. I am sorry, but that I'll just go ahead and say it now for his little minion. That sword sheath you can pull away from him, and you can actually put Azrael's helmet just right on top. It's just a big hole. It doesn't close up on the minion's arms, but you can put the helmet in the minion's arms to where it looks like he's holding the helmet up. So there's a couple posing options there, but let's just go ahead and jump into this figure. Here's the front and back detail display shots where we're looking at just a mess, right? There's so much going on. We got some really cool sculpted out shoulder pads. That backpack's got the skulls where the jets are. I mean, there's a lot going on. Purity seals all over the place. So again, watch out for those. They can be fragile. He's got the pistol. But let's go ahead and move over to that first front shot. And he's got that Azrael banner waving way above his head, hanging off his backpack. I'm a sucker for flagmen, so I have to buy this just based off of that alone. He's got that really cool pistol. We've got the sword. We've got stuff hanging off of him. I will say the nice thing about this figure, other figures in the past that have, I would say, bits that hang off of their belt, like ammo pouches or, just little necklaces, jewelry pieces. In the past, you've been able to pull those out or unplug them and kind of swap them around. This figure does not have that option. There's no quote-unquote plug and play here for belt line accessories, I guess. But you don't need it. I mean, this guy's a mess. He's got so much going on. You don't need to add the confusion of should I put this on his left side or his right side. He's got enough going on. But wow, this guy's great. Let's go look at the back again, right? We saw this before. We'll look at it again. His little minion's got some keys behind him. You can see some ammo pouches in that on Azrael, as well as his pistol holder. So he does have those ammo pouches and that gun holster on his back. I don't know if it's removable or not. And I say that because typically if it is, it'll show that in the loadout image, which is coming up here shortly. But I'll go ahead and spoil alert. Those are not included in the loadout image. So maybe they come off. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume that those are fixed to the body. But we'll find out. I'm not sure. Let's go to the next image. But here's an action pose of him holding that sword up. He can hold that sword with 2 hands, which is very important. You've got his little minion again, just holding the sheath. He's also got the unhelmeted head, which is great. 2 heads included here, obviously, because I mentioned before that the minion can hold his helmet. So it's a nice overall package. It's just, for me, you slap a flag on any figure, I'm buying it instantly. Here's a close-up. It's a very grainy shot, I'm sorry, because it's super zoomed in. But just to show you what that little minion looks like, that sheath will slide out of his arms. Now, there's no articulation here. But that sheath you can slide out and just kind of balance the helmet on top of his arms. So he does have options. Granted, there's not many, but two's better than 1, 2's better than none. So there's something there, but that's really cool. So here's his loadout. Backpack, a stand. He's got a total of, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 hands on this one, which is awesome. I believe, I can't tell actually, we might be looking at just 2 trigger fingers. I want to say one of them's a pointing finger. I don't think it is. So 2 trigger fingers. We got a pistol, unhelmeted head, helmeted head, a sword, the sheath, the handle. You're probably sitting there going, why doesn't it have a blade? Well, clearly, if he has the sword, if Azrael is holding the sword, The sheath is not going to have, a sword in it. So I do like that they included the bladeless handle or hilt. So there's really cool options there, extra accessories. I failed to mention, and I will say this because I try to say it in every video, Azrael's tunic, I believe is what we're calling that. The fabric and or rubber that goes around his waist. It is ballooned out, so it's not going to hinder too much articulation as far as legs underneath. But it is going to kind of make some of your posing, it has the potential of making some of your poses look weird. Just because, like him standing there, I guess you could assume maybe there's a gust of wind that came through. But if he's not in an action pose, with the way that his tunic is, it is going to look strange. So that may throw off the way that you display him. But I just want to throw it out there. Pliable material, posable material. There's no wires in it, so it's not going to hold, but it will definitely move with the legs, which is great. That's it, guys. 2 reveals. That was it. 2 this week, which is great. We got the Dark Angels Primarch Lionel Jonson. We got the Dark Angels Supreme Grandmaster Azrael. Hopefully, it's Friday now. Maybe in a few hours, Toy Fair starts popping off. Wonderfest starts popping off. Maybe we'll see a few more things. If not, for sure, next Thursday, we'll have some more stuff. So, always things to look forward to. Go ahead and throw in my plugs here. If you're out looking for figures and you don't want to fucking shop at Merchoid because they suck, Cool Toys Club. Go to www.cooltoysclub.com. They've got these are actually not up for pre-order yet. So before I was going to say pre-order these, they're not up yet, or at least at the time of this recording. They will be. But go to Cool Toys Club. Lloyd Chen is the one who owns and runs that website and the company. He's a fantastic person. So go shop there. Support them. They're amazing. And speaking of support, come join the Discord. I will have links for the Discord down below this video. It's free to join. We're always doing giveaways. I think we're almost at 2,900 members, which is awesome for a Discord. But there's constant giveaways going on, constant conversations, breaking news. And I will say this, if there's news, you're going to see it there first. So come join the conversations. Free to join. Go shop at Cool Toys Club. And until the next video, guys, have a good one.